first handful of spring practices been like for you guys? Have you felt that energy's been with the team so far?
I think energy's been good. Obviously, you're always excited to get back on the field. Um, Maybe us even more than them at times, but I think our guys have responded well on both sides of the ball. The energy now is trying to continue it right throughout, making sure that we maintain and keep that energy. But um, I've been pretty impressed with us so far, at least for sure defensively, in where we are as far as from a learning standpoint. You know, you got a lot of new faces, whether they were here and now on the field a little bit more, whether they're new to us altogether, that have done a good job of just being diligent about what we're doing, progressing in the defense, progressing in their individual roles. And so I wouldn't say it's surprising, but it's refreshing to see guys that are eager and hungry to be the best version of themselves.
For your group in particular, what are you hoping that you can take away from these practices? Is there something that in particular you feel like you need to accomplish, or any guys individually that you need to see something from?
Leadership is always going to be important to us, right? And who is that next leader? You may have a group of them, you may have one. You know, we graduated a big leader and big personality for us in Brandon Crossley, right? So who becomes that leader for us? You know, they don't have to do it the same way Brandon did, but um, you know, what's the leadership that they bring to the table, or how do they bring that leadership? And maybe it's a group effort as well. You really kind of want to see some guys who have been here for an extended period of time, either take hold of the position and continue to improve, or you want to see if you got younger guys that are going to do that. And so, you know, it's kind of a jockeying for position in the spring, you know, just to kind of figure out what do you have. You know, the thing for us that's different this year, I believe, is that, you know, we got one that's hurt that'll be back in Marcellus Barnes. You know, so we won't see him until later in the spring, early in the summer. And we expect him to be, you know, an addition, a key addition to the room. And then you got, you know, Zay Gentry, who's an incoming freshman that'll be here in May as well. And I think those guys figure into that picture as well. So um, kind of getting an idea of what we have, but then also seeing those guys compete and actually play and execute when they know what's going on. It's probably one of the big things. You know, we got goals that we're working on, right? We want to give up less explosives, particularly explosive touchdowns. We want to try to eliminate those. We want to be better tacklers in the open field, and in run situations we need to be able to show up, and we thought we could improve there. And then we need to create opportunities to take the ball away. All right, a lot of people tell you get in position, but we not only want to get in position, we want to create those, and then we want to take advantage of the opportunities that we get. So that's kind of our focus this spring.
What's Marcellus' injury?
Marcellus' injury, he has a upper body injury to the shoulder, and so you know, something that he had during the season while he was at Syracuse. We knew coming in, and we knew, you know, kind of where he was with that. He's done a great job in rehab. I mean, like, he's itching to get back on the field, and you love to see that, right? Because, you know, you don't want that guy standing there and just watching and being comfortable with watching. We didn't bring him here to watch. So we love to see him trying to sneak in drills and do things that he probably shouldn't do. But I don't know anything about that. So
Smoke, you know, just a big spring for him, and A.J. Davis, just as those veteran guys that you're looking toward to maybe step up a little bit. What have you seen from them, and where are they at in their games overall?
I would say in first 4 practices, right, 5 practices with today, I've seen the intentionality that I would hope to see from Smoke, you know, just an improving in technique and some things that, you know, in year 3 in our program, you should be better at. You know what I mean? Either the message, if not, then the message that I'm giving isn't getting through, or you aren't doing your part. And so, you know, you like to see that from him. You like to see him take a lead role, you know, as far as when I'm calling for a guy, he's the first one that's ready to jump out, you know, and that's the way you would hope that he competes. And so for him, for AJ, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you guys are now in that veteran role, but you got some young competitive guys that are going to come push you. You know, I like to tell them and people all the time, like, I don't have a favorite player. My favorite player is the best player. So the best players are the ones that are going to be on the field. And so I love them, and they know that, and I love having them here, but they got to produce, because if not, then somebody else passes them up. And I think that's kind of where you are in college football, right? With the 105 and with different things that have now changed, it's more like the NFL, right? It's not a whole lot of, hey, your time is coming, right? You either need to take hold of your time or you got other individuals that could take that from you. So AJ's done a good job. We need to see him be a playmaker and be a consistent playmaker, right? Not just be in the right spot. We're at the point now where you need to make plays, and we got to see that from him.
With Speedy Nettles going to his second year with the program, what do you hope to see from him this spring? I mean, I think he saw the field more than most of the other true freshmen last year. What do you want to see from him during the spring period?
I like to tell him I want to see you use what God gave you. You're a physically imposing, long individual. We want to see that from you. We want to see you use that. We want to see you become more dominant and comfortable in that, right? I think that first year, at times, you have expectations for a guy, and you just got to kind of see where he is, right? And you may have to help bring him along. And I thought there was times where he practiced and showed some things really well, and there was times where, he was still a freshman, and he did the same thing in games, right? Where now, I'm probably hardest on him right now just because the expectation is for you to impact this team in this room, defensively and on special teams. And anything less than that, I haven't done my job and you haven't done yours. And so, he understands that maybe me coaching him a little bit more aggressive than I have in the past is not a negative, it's a positive because I know what's in there, so let's get it out.
How do you see him respond to that maybe tougher coaching? How does he take something on like that, and are you starting to see, even though it's early stages, starting to see how he reacts?
He's been good with it so far. I think he probably had, 5 days in, but Saturday he had one of his better practices. I thought you saw him strike, in the open field. I thought you saw him be physical in man technique, make plays on the ball. He's got his hands on a few of the passes from the quarterbacks. He hasn't poured it in yet, but you can see him taking those chances because you got to take chances on the outside, right? Especially when we have you in coverage, whether that's man or whether it's zone coverage. When we put you in opportunities or put you in position for those opportunities, take chances at practice, right? Because I won't know how it feels if I wait until the game and I try to take that chance. Right, take that chance at practice so I know how it feels. So now when we get to the game and you get that opportunity again, not only am I taking it, but I'm going to capitalize on it. So I think he's been very receptive to it, and we expect to see him continue to build throughout the course of the spring.
Lamadrick Spencer and Javion Holiday come in kind of different points in their career. Where have you kind of seen them so far? Are they living up to what you saw as you recruited them in, and where are you hoping to see them grow?
They're living up to the Duncanville brand for sure. They are physical. They compete. I'm almost been a little surprised from Jay Holly because he's kind of got a little baby deer to him. You know what I mean? Where he's so long and just still trying to figure out his body. But he'll strike. He'll come up. He shows up. Today he took the first rep of one-on-ones against Jordan Hudson. And you love that, right? That's a smile brings a smile to your face just because there's probably guys that are older that are saying, hey, man, jump out. I got it, this, that, or other. And you're going to fight his way in there and make sure that he's scrapping. And so I love to see that from him, and he's not a blank slate, like unable to learn, but he's a blank slate in that he just has so much to build. He's got so much to build on top of the foundation, and we got to lay that foundation first. Lamadrick has played a lot of football, both in high school and in junior college. And so you see a lot of things that maybe an incoming freshman has a learning curve in that he does not. Now he's just got to do it within our scheme, right, and understand what the expectation is for him, the communication, the different checks, alignments, all of those intricate things that build what we've done and what he's going to be able to do defensively. But physicality and competitiveness for both of them, there's no lack of that. So it's good to see.
With Crosley out the door, and you've got Deuce back, but you also have kind of a wealth of young talent merged with those veterans. Kind of you were talking about earlier, grabbing the role and grabbing the starting spot. Is your group at a spot where you just if you see a little bit of something from a freshman, you're gonna let them get that shot if they've earned it, and kind of see where it goes
Yeah.
in that early season? Like, how do you balance all that?
I think
I know that's a long way away. But
college football kind of has forced you to do that now. You know what I mean? Like when you get an opportunity to bring in guys like we have, and now with having a couple guys that play majority of the snaps and Deuce and Smoke, and then the rest of those guys either not playing as many or not playing at all. You want to be able to build depth, one, but two, like I said, you want to see who is going to rise to the occasion, like who's the alpha, right, and going to display that. There's some things that I expect from the guys that have been here before, just because of what they understand from me and who we are, and kind of my hope of my leadership reflecting in the way they do things. But then you got guys that are going to come in and say, man, I don't know who Jordan Hudson is. I don't know who, Romello Brinson is. I want to line up against those guys, and I want to compete. And when you say, you have guys that are able to do that and show that they have some ability as well, that leads you to believe, okay, we got more names in the mix than maybe we've had in the past. I think the only guy that's kind of, I don't know, that at times has separated himself, not all the way through, but at times is Deuce. Where he was this time last year to where he is now is good for me and him, because I just had to learn him, right? He's has all the talent and ability in the world, but he had to understand what my requirements for playing the position and for him were, and so he's been able to demonstrate and show that, and so now our relationship is probably as good as anyone that I've had, and I enjoy that because we need him to be that and push those other guys, but I think he's got a lot of new faces that are going to push him as well, along with the guys that are returning, so we're very excited about that.